What's up, amigos? It's Chris Lewitt back with another Prodigy Maker Minute. As you may know, I'm the former #1 for Cornell University, pro circuit player, elite junior development coach, and author and educator, author of The Secrets of Spanish Tennis and the Tennis Technique Bible. On this Prodigy Maker Minute, I want to talk about a huge pillar in the Spanish system and the Spanish method, the Spanish approach to training, and it's suffering. It's a chapter in my book, Suffering. Coaches in Spain, tennis teachers in Spain, players in Spain, they believe from the depths of their heart that they must suffer, that players must learn how to suffer, and actually that players can get to the point where they embrace suffering and actually love to suffer. Something that Rafa Nadal has talked about in many interviews, that he's learned to love suffering. And you can see it demonstrated on the court when you see Spanish players in the third set or the fifth set. They usually never give up. They usually fight till the very end, and they usually withstand as much pain as is necessary to get the win. And that kind of mentality, that kind of grit is inculcated from a very young age. It's purposely developed by the coaches, sometimes by the parents, by the whole culture in Spain, that to be a great tennis player, it's sort of understood in Spain that you must suffer and you must be willing to suffer. And then the goal of, in many respects, of the training in Spain is to develop not only just the capacity to suffer, but an embrace and a love of suffering. Jofre Porta, very famous Spanish coach, talks about how he likes to train his players and teach his players that suffering is not a sacrifice. In essence, suffering is a privilege, because when you suffer well, you give yourself the best chance to win, to succeed, and you also build up your character. So I think those are very important concepts in Spain. Number one, that a player needs to suffer. A player needs to learn how to suffer well, and a player eventually, if they work at it, they can not only see suffering as something they must do, but actually something that they want to do. They feel better at the end of a match if it's been a tough, hard-fought battle where they fell on the clay and they've got red clay all over their bodies and their clothes, and if they're at the end, if they're exhausted and dead, tired, that in the Spanish mentality is a success. Is that and in essence that makes the player stronger. Even if they lose, that makes them strong. It builds their character up, makes them tougher. So that toughness, that grit, developing that mentality is a big part of the Spanish method. I talked about it in my book, The Secrets of Spanish Tennis. It's actually a chapter in my book, but I wanted to emphasize that that's so important. It's not just the drills that you do. It's not just the technique that you learn. It's not just the footwork that, how you move on a court and your tactics and things like that. In the Spanish system, the Spanish way, the glue that holds everything together in the Spanish system is this concept of suffering, that players need to learn that and eventually embrace that. So, guys, what do you think? Is that necessary to develop a champion? Do you really need to suffer? Is that appropriate to teach young children to suffer? That's how they do it in Spain. Love to get your feedback on that. If you like this Prodigy Maker Minute, please consider watching my big show, The Prodigy Maker Show. It's a podcast. You can listen to it wherever you're going, if you're working out in the gym. And it's also, we do the show live here on YouTube. So check it out, guys, and I'll see you on the next program.